The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus and his disciples left from there and began a journey through Galilee, but he did not wish anyone to know about it. He was teaching his disciples and telling them, "The Son of Man is to be handed over to men, and they will kill him. And 3 days after his death, the Son of Man will rise." But they did not understand the saying, and they were afraid to question him. They came to Capernaum, and once inside the house, he began to ask them, "What were you arguing about on the way?" But they remained silent. They had been discussing among themselves on the way who was the greatest. Then he sat down, called the 12, and said to them, "If anyone wishes to be first, he shall be the last of all and the servant of all." Taking a child, he placed it in their midst, and putting his arms around it, he said to them, "Whoever receives one child such as this in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives not me, but the one who sent me." The Gospel of the Lord. I like to watch sports, and so if you follow sports at all, one of the things that gets discussed a lot these days is who's the greatest, and the acronym for that is the GOAT. Who's the GOAT? In professional football, a lot of times Tom Brady, because he won 7 Super Bowl championships, he's considered the GOAT. Or Michael Jordan in basketball. Or there's a lot of discussion more recently around Caitlin Clark. Is she or is she not the GOAT because she didn't win the national championship? All these sorts of things. But we have a fascination in our lives and in our world with who's the greatest. And in worldly terms, these are the things that we often strive for. And not that these things necessarily in themselves are bad. But even in things like investing, a lot of times Warren Buffett is considered the greatest investor of all time, and different things like that. But those things, oftentimes they have to do with, if it's sports, it's physical performance, if it's, money or power or different types of things like that. But in the gospel, Jesus tells us today that, because this is the discussion that the apostles are having amongst themselves. It's like, who's the greatest among us? And they're probably putting forth, I am one, he talked to me first, and well, I introduced him to you, and all these different types of things. And so they're trying to go through and figure out who's the greatest among the apostles. And you can just see Jesus right here. He's like, "How long have you been with me and you still don't quite get it?" And so what does he say? He corrects them in a very beautiful way. Because he sits them down and he says to them, "Okay, if you wish to be first, you shall be the last of all and the servant of all." And then, and using as an example, he puts a child in their midst. And if we think about that, think about a small child. They really don't care who scores the most touchdowns or the most points in their basketball game. They just want to be there present. And with the people that they love. I remember growing up with my dad, and I thought my dad was the greatest, and so I wanted always to be around him. And so I thought it was always a great thing for me when he allowed me to help when he was working on the cars or something like that. And when we can have that kind of a childlike attitude towards the world and towards the people that we love, then ultimately that's because it's love that makes us great. It's not skillful performance. It's not money. It's not power. But in the kingdom of God, it is love. And so when we can strive to love others, then that helps us really to be great in the kingdom of God. And that's what makes us first. And so we think about that. How do we love? And sometimes that can be challenging, especially for those that are homebound. Maybe we feel like we're isolated. Well, one of the greatest ways that we have to love others is to pray and to offer sacrifice on the others. And so when we can unite our sacrifice, our suffering of maybe we're experiencing loneliness, And so we unite that to Jesus. Say, Jesus, be with me in my loneliness, because I know that you were lonely when everyone abandoned you in the garden. Or maybe we can take an opportunity. Sometimes we're waiting for other people to contact us, but you know what? That phone that we have, it's got buttons on it. Or I don't know if they're buttons anymore. It's got a touch screen probably now. But you can dial, you can call people, or you can write letters. Think about your kids or your grandkids. Wouldn't they love to receive a handwritten letter from you? That's one of the things I think about my dad again that he used to do, and that people that receive those really cherish those things. So how do we express love? How do we show other people that we love? And when we can really strive to love others as Jesus loved us, and to manifest that love, it is then that we will truly be greatest in the kingdom of God.